like there's no tomorrow.
Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make a unique ident like the one that I showed you at the start. So to start off, I'm going to click back on the make a composition layer. Then I'm going to make a composition of 5 seconds. I'm going to make sure that your one says 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS or 60, it's all optional. I'm going to make it 60, then OK. Next, once you're here, grab the text tool and type in your name. So for this, I'm just going to use the name move because it shows all different types of letters and how we can animate them. So then scale it up a little bit and align it in the center. Once you've done that, we're going to right click, create shapes from text. Then we're going to duplicate it however many times there are letters. So there's 4 letters, so we need 4 of these layers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in the first one we want it to only be the M. So get rid of all the other layers. This one only the O. This one only the V. And this one only the E. So once you've done that, rename the layers by right clicking and pressing rename. That one needs to be M, O, V, and E. Once we've done that, turn back on the text layer, and we're going to use this as a reference because we're about to change all the different anchor points. So just hit A on the keyboard to bring up anchor point, and we're just going to move it until we get it to where we want it to be. So for this first letter, I want it to be right on the edge, right there. Once you've done that, move the position back to where it would be, right there. For O, you want it in the middle. So again, move it until you get it where you want it to be. So I want it to be in the middle. And then position. You can always press align to align it back in the middle. And then there is where we want it. Then the V we want it at the bottom. So we're going to get our anchor point again, move it to the middle, and then P, move it back to where it was, so right there. And then E, we want it on the corner over here as well. So we're going to get the anchor point, move it until it's at the corner, then we're going to move it all the way back. Once we've done that, we can get rid of our reference layer at the bottom, and we've got it all set up. So we're going to start off with our first layer. So our first layer, we're going to want it to scale up and sort of come in to where it's going to be at the end. So to do that, we set a keyframe at about 1 second of the position. Set one at the start, and we drag it down in a diagonal like that. So it's going to scale up to there. Then we hit U on our keyboard, hit Shift S to bring up the scale as well. Put a keyframe of the scale at the end. Change this one to 0. So right now it goes like that, but that's way too slow. So we're going to highlight them both, hit F9 or ECs by right clicking keyframe assistant ECs. Go to the graph editor. Change position to be like a mountain. So we want to drag these two together. If you're not on this, click on edit speed graph instead of edit value graph. I'm going to do the same with the scale. So there we go. I've got the M coming in like that. But to give it a little bit more character, we're going to add some rotation to it. So we're going to want it to be rotated back about -4 degrees. And then when it gets up to here, we're going to want it to kind of bounce. So it gets up to here, then we're going to put it to -8. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want that to go to 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make this one about 5. And we -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make it 0. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. Make it about 3. -3. Make it about -3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And then that's the little bounce. So it's going to come up and it's going to bounce about So highlight your keyframes, F9, and then we're going to make them mountains again. So there we go, that looks nice. So we've got it bouncing in now. So once we've got that, we're going to move on to the O, and the O we're going to want it to come down and bounce. So again, make a position keyframe at about 1 second. You want to make another one where it's above the composition, to keep moving it up. Then we're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Move it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Move it back down to the original one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move it up a bit more, like half the distance. 4, 5, 6, 7. Back down to the original. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move it about half the distance again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. And then we're going to move it down a bit from the original. So Control V and then move it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll move it back to the original. And right now this isn't going to look that good because it's not easy eased. But if we easy ease it, go into our graph editor and we add some speed to it, then it should look good. So again, make them all look like mountains. Now you want the peak to be when it's coming down rather, so it's my bad. Because you have to think of it like it's a ball, and when a ball comes down it goes fast, and when it goes back up it goes slow and then fast, like that. Once you've made your mountains, let's take a look at it again. I think it's taking a bit too long on the start, so what we're going to do is move this over to the right. What we're going to do is move this over to the left. I'm also going to space out the different keyframes. So there we go, that looks good. I'm just going to add motion blur to both these layers and we'll watch that through again. Right, so that's looking good. Next we're going to animate our V. So, because there's not really much that we can do with the letter V, because it's a weird shape and it's got a lot of curves, and because it's got a lot of diagonals in it, all we're going to do is we're going to animate the path. So you're going to click down on the arrow, contents, V, V, and then the path, and set a path at 1 second, go to about the 40 frames mark, then this is where we're going to change it. So grab the top two of both of these, and holding shift we're going to drag it down until it's flat, like that. And once we've got it like that, we're going to go to here, and we're going to make another keyframe, and then we're going to bring these points in to the middle. Remember to hold shift when you move it across. And then we're going to add a bit of opacity to it, so keyframe a little fade in. At about 5 frames in. Then again, path, hit F9 or easy ease, and we're going to do some mountains, but a little bit different. We're going to do individual mountains, like that. And let's see how that looks. There we go, we've now animated our V. So now we're going to move on to the E. And all we want for the E, we want it to come from the left, and then we want the different parts of the E to pop out. So let's do that. Set a keyframe at about 1 second. Then make the path off the screen, the position off the screen. And then easy ease it in. And we want it to be a mountain again. So it comes in speeding like that. Then motion blur on all the layers, remember. Once you've done that, we're going to keyframe the path. So down on the arrow, contents, E, and path. Put this keyframe to about 1 second, then go to the 40 frame mark, and we're gonna grab the points. So we want to get this point here, move this in, remember hold shift when you do this, these points in, these points in, there we go. So we've now got the E to pop out. Remember, highlight, and then we're going to easy ease them and do the mountain. And we can put this at a little bit after. Once we've done that, we've almost finished. We've just got to add some finishing touches. Once we've done that, we can move on to how we're going to close out this ident. So we want to close it out by going to about 3 seconds, and then we're going to animate all of these different things to fade away. So for our O, which is the easiest, we're just going to add a scale out. So scale, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 0. The V, we're going to just get our path from earlier. Control C, Control V. Then Control C, Control V. And Control C, Control V. And then add our opacity. We can highlight our O, and then we can add another mountain. So here we go, we have the O and the V going up. And then the E, we're going to do the same kind of thing, where we grab our path, put it somewhere random, get the second one, put it there, and we're going to make a third one right here, where all of it comes down. So it's going to go down like that, to there, trim it right when it gets to the bottom, and then we'll make the mountains again. Like that. So now everything fades away. So we need our M to do the same. So go to about 45 frames, then contents, M, path. Then we're going to go forward a bit. We're going to get these bottom 2 points. We're going to drag them up until they get to the top. Then we do the same for these 2. And then we're going to go forward a bit more, make another keyframe. And we're going to drag all these points here until they reach the middle. So we want to drag them all until they're in a line like that. And the same on this side. So it's going to come up and then it's going to close in. And then we can split the layer and get rid of it afterwards. Hit F9 and then mountains. Might make that a bit longer, might move this to the end a bit, and that one forward a bit. Let's see how we've got this so far. There we go, so it all comes in, and then it all closes out like that. Right, so once we've done that, all we've got to do, hit U on our keyboard to make it look a little bit tidier. We're now going to get our text tool again, then we're going to type move. We're going to change it to be a stroke. We want to turn up the stroke width until we get to about out here at about 38. That's probably good. Then we just need to align it, and then hit Control Shift C to pre-comp it. And then once we pre-comped it, layer, auto trace, okay. Then when we go into here and go into the masks, there is only one mask going around the edge that we need. The rest of these we can get rid of. So now we've got this one mask that goes around the entire edge. Now all you need to do, just randomly click somewhere with the pen tool, go to Contents, Shape, Path, and then on the path we're going to go to our path from our mask, Control C that path, Control V it onto there. Then we can get rid of this comp, and we've got the outline going around. Once we've got this, we can add trim paths. And we want it to start at about 12%, so all we're going to do is make that 12%, keyframe these, go 10 frames forward, make this one 0%, go to about there, keyframe that one, keyframe this one, and then make this one here 0%. And then we want to keyframe the offset to about 1, and over here we want it to be 0. So it's going to go around, and it's going to come back in the middle. And now we can just split our layer here and move it to where it will be best, which is about here. So it's going to start going around here and finish up just before everything starts closing. And we can also add a bit of a fade. Once we've done that, turn down the stroke width till it's about at 8. So it's going to go around like that. Then we're just going to add to it 4-point gradient. It's a 4-color gradient. And then we're going to put the gradient right next to each corner. And what that's going to do is give it a nice color. So then all we need to do is add a glow. And you can always use sapphire glow, but for people that don't have plugins and I want this to be for everyone, we can just add stylized glow. And all you got to do is turn up the radius a bit, turn up the intensity a bit, and we've got glowing it outside. Once we've done that, all we have to do now is duplicate each of these layers, and then I will link this preset that I've made in the description, and I'm going to add the text gradient preset. So I'm just going to add it there, add it there, add it there, and add it there. And what this will do is, if I turn it to full quality so that you can see it, is it will make it look a little bit more 3D. And then we can take this one step further by adding a different colour to each of these. For the first letter I usually do it in green, so we're going to add a green gradient. Let's change this bottom one here to green. We've got our colours sorted, and all we've got to do now, we've just got to add the glow to the layers that have the gradient on them. Once we've done that, it's going to give it a bit of a glow. That looks a bit too much in my opinion, so I'm just going to experiment with the letter M. I think these are the settings that I'm going to keep, and then we're just going to Ctrl-C that and put it onto each of these layers. We're going to add motion blur to our trim path layer. We're going to also make sure that we've got our stroke set from butt cap to round cap. And once we've done that, all we need to do is pre-compose our layer. And then we're just going to add rotation of about 6. And at the end is going to be about 5, about here. And then we're going to add a scale. It's going to go down to about 120 here. We're going to make it so that it goes in like that. And then about the 3 seconds and 30 frames mark, we're going to make this 90. And then we're going to make it 0. Move it back until it's at the 30 frame mark. And then make these keyframes. And we're going to have it so it ramps out at the end. So let's watch through what we've got so far. Okay, so I'm liking it, but I think we need to make this so that it goes a bit further before it fades out. So we're going to change the offset to about 50 degrees. That looks a bit better, right? We'll check that out. So there we go, we've managed to make ourselves a unique ident in not too much time. So hopefully you managed to follow along with that tutorial. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. And I'll be making more tutorials like this on different kinds of idents, as well as releasing more free ident templates for you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.